Is there any point in making music on the go, or should you really just wait till you get back to your setup to do it? For the longest time, I've thought, no, there's no point. I can't do any of the cool stuff that makes production awesome, so why bother? I'm just gonna find another way to enjoy music on the go, like listening to it. But then I downloaded the phone version of Ableton, and it's actually alright. So in the first of a few adventures, I decided to actually test it out in the setting that it was supposedly made for. The train, apparently? This is the regular setup that I would just have on a normal day. I've got my AirPods, I've got a phone, and just the stock sounds that come downloaded with the app. So if I can't make anything here, there's no point to this whole phone music thing. The way I see it, when a company makes a phone app out of a fully fledged desktop app, they have two options. The first option is they try and give you all the features, but they all end up being super tucked away into annoying corners, and you never want to use them anyway, and the app just feels super clunky. The second option is to not give you all the features and kind of strip it away to the bare essentials, but that also runs the risk of the app just being not very useful because you can't do anything on it. And it's pretty clear to me that in this case, Ableton has gone for the second option. You don't have an arrangement view, everything's got to be in this vertical session view. Everything is based around loops, you can't use audio tracks, and there is a huge limitation on the number of tracks you can use. There's only 8 tracks you can do, and I think it's like 2 or 1 audio effect that you can apply to each different thing at once. So not much you can do. So back to my train experiment, and I'm now playing in this chord on the pads that are down the bottom. I started off with the drums on the sequencer, but this just feels like something that I want to play in. The reason I decided not to play in the drums is because I'm using AirPods and there's a bunch of latency, which makes it impossible to play anything in time. When apps take this option and they strip it down, they do open the door to actually being able to use the phone in a really unique way and add features that you wouldn't be able to have if it wasn't on a phone. A great example of that is the way this app does automation. I almost find it to be better than on desktop. Whenever you move any parameter, for example the dry wet of the delay here, it draws these dotted lines and then all you have to do is click add and it turns it into automation. With just under 2 minutes to my stop, I had time to add a bass and then we were done. I feel like that's exactly what it's for. Like no prep, no nothing, AirPods with heaps of latency, just sitting on the train for 15 minutes. I was able to make something. The real question though is if that is like anything that I would actually go on to use or flesh out even further, or if it's got any legs at all. And that is the big question that this app started to give me. What is it actually for? In all the commercials for it, Ableton Note is advertised as this on-the-go type music making thing for capturing musical ideas when you're not at your setup and you might be in a more inspiring place. But the thing is, I kind of find music production to be a form of music making that thrives on being methodical and focused and going really deep on the details. Not necessarily being this whimsical thing that you can kind of do at any point and capture the environment around you. It kind of thrives better when you get focused and block out everything around you. And since my brain just loves exploring creative mediums that allow you to be that methodical, I recently decided to try that out in a different way at today's video sponsor, Skillshare. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but over the last year or so, I've focused a little bit more on making the text in these videos a bit more enjoyable. I used to just throw it on the screen and not think about it, but it's actually a pretty fun thing to play around with. So as part of my growing interest in graphic design, I recently decided to take this typography class. And typography is not something that I ever thought I would explore, but now that I'm here, it's actually very interesting. Sometimes you get a class where people are just a bit too, I don't know, wordy, but this guy, Martin Perhiniak, he's absolutely just straight to the point. I love it. The fact that I'm on Skillshare here means that I can just learn about these things that are like interesting to me, but I might not want to buy a full course like individually on. With the holiday season firmly upon us, it's very easy to gift Skillshare memberships to friends and family if you think someone might need some of that in their life. It's a big commitment if you're buying a present for someone to like buy them an actual course or something. That's why buying books is kind of sometimes a bit of a sus option, because you're buying them something that they have to commit time to. But like if you get them a Skillshare membership, you kind of give them the option to like explore whatever they're interested in. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Plus you can gift Skillshare memberships to friends and family. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring another one of these videos.
So if I'm really looking to capture the energy of a place around me and take advantage of being in an inspiring place, that's probably when I will look for a different form of music making, one which requires less focus on all the details and more just on the general energy that you're getting. I'm talking, of course, of songwriting. Basically, the thing that's special about this ukulele is I've removed the bottom string, which means that I can play it like a guitar, so I can just play triads. When I'm in an inspiring place like this, I don't really want to be locking in and going super internal, which is what I would be doing if I was producing here, probably even if I was on a phone. I more want to be focusing on what's around me and kind of letting the music guide me to where it wants to go next. I think as producers specifically, it's quite easy to forget that there is an entire world that is just focused on the melodies, harmonies, and chords. When you've got 3 notes, there's not much you can really do, which is great. But I mean, there's a lot you can do. It's a 1/4 progression, but it sounds nice because I'm keeping this note going. But then that means that if I'm keeping this constant, I can move the thing that's on this string. So it can be a... It can and does get extremely complex, but it also can get extremely simple and still sound good, which is a lot harder to do with production. Then we got this. And when something is simple, or maybe the better word is intuitive, it allows you to engage with the world around you while making music. And that's why this ukulele's been with me all around the world. I love this thing. And obviously it's fantastic and it's a luxury if you're able to play ukulele or another instrument that you can bring around with you, but it's easy to forget that the best instrument that you can bring with you is your voice. It's not necessarily something that I have done a lot of, but I know of a lot of songwriters who swear by their voice notes app and by just singing in random melodies that come into their heads. 1 down to the 6, up to the 2. And I feel like that, or one of the other apps that allows you to layer voice stuff on the go, could fill this need better than the Ableton app does. But then we're just left with the original question again. What is this app actually for, and when would you realistically want to make music on a phone? It felt like from my testing so far that the whole spontaneous, whimsical, make music on the go type thing wasn't really what got the most out of this app or out of a phone.
The real question though is if that is like anything that I would actually go on to use or flesh out even further.
So it got me thinking, what if I took a more measured approach with it? So that's what I did. For starters, I actually set up the app. I downloaded a bunch of my samples that I usually use.
So we got... Oh, it's so much nicer. Wow.
I actually had some good headphones with me to produce with, but most importantly, I actually learned some of the phone-specific techniques that promise to get the most out of Ableton Note.
Let's get just a fucking pentatonic.
I decided to use the scale mode.
And then let's get this thing, get our beat repeat going.
And the beat repeat.
Let's get some delay going.
The issue I was having in the first session, and I will have again in this session, is that playing in melodies that are in my head is really difficult on these pads, partially because I don't know how they work, but also because they're not very accurate. So putting the beat repeat and the arpeggiator on meant that I could just drag around 2 fingers and cool stuff would happen. I didn't have much control, but it didn't really matter because I was just going for a certain energy rather than a particular melody.
That's kind of nice.
An issue I have with playing in MIDI on a screen that can't record velocity is that you just get robotic sounding stuff. But if you use single pad mode, you can tap higher or lower depending on what velocity you want.
Oh my god, yes!
And I was actually starting to create an idea that I liked on my phone.
Like it.
But here's that bit that I promised you where it's really impossible to play in the thing that's in my head because I don't know how these pads work. More single pad fun.
Nice. I've got the second part, which goes. Oh, this is nice. Yeah! I'm doing some fucking mixing now.
I seriously did not think I would get this extensive on a phone. And I also didn't think that I would get to doing a B section and a kind of arrangement.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a lot more productive than the first one. Obviously, I had a lot more time. I don't know how long that's been, but wow. Gee. But the interesting thing there is, I just went into like production mode. That was not at all the thing that this app is for. Like sitting, well, I mean, it could be. That wasn't like get down and sketch a quick idea on the go and then finish it off later. That was like fill out something and have fun. And the fact that I was kind of able to do that's pretty crazy. But realistically, when I have the time and space to do this, surely I'd be on a laptop, right?
Despite actually having a way better setup than before, it was still really hard to get that melody from my head onto the phone. And I'm sure if you use Ableton Push or you're more familiar with how these pads work, it'd be a lot easier for you. But it generally led me to realize what this app and what a phone in general is for with music and what it just isn't. Something like this doesn't feel like it is actually a place to capture those ideas that you have in a moment. Realistically, you can just do that on a voice notes app. But what this app is for providing you with like kind of a audio playground in your pocket. A place that you can go and play around and experiment and try new things. And I don't know, it turns out you can actually create some pretty cool stuff in here. But the thing is, if I have enough time and space to sit down like this and experiment, I'm usually gonna have my laptop anyway. Which leads me to like the two use cases that I can genuinely see this being useful for. Number one is not actually for me, it's for someone else who hasn't actually got a laptop or doesn't have any other way to make music, or just wants to start off making music without having to pay a lot of money. You could absolutely be using this. You can do a bunch of stuff, and this will teach you so much about how production works, and you absolutely get the essence of what makes production great in this app. The second use case is actually for me. It's when I'm like traveling. I don't mean like small train trips like I did at the beginning of the video. I mean like when I'm away from home and I do have like multiple hours of time, free time that I want to fill with something, and I can sit down and all I have with me is my phone. I could see myself having so much fun on this thing. Overall, I'm very excited that this exists. Thank you, Ableton. This is awesome. This will probably be the last video before Christmas, so if you celebrate it, Merry Christmas. I hope you eat some great food and listen to some great music. I will be back and better than ever in the new year, but till then, make a tune. Really? Did we really just bro fist?